Ready, hot!
So how cool has that been? How satisfying has it been?
Just extremely satisfying. After the game, there's in those moments when it's a tight game, tight ball game, and you actually pull it out and you win, and your offense does a great job at the end of finishing. There's not much of a feeling like it, you know, and it's so satisfying to see guys who've worked so hard all year long and finally get a chance to get in there and make some plays like Brennan did at the end, and he made a play and he did a great job.
Landry, can you tell us what happened on that play when you went down?
Just got the wind knocked out of me.
Landry, can you describe I don't know if it was confusion or indecision with the clock running down there toward the end of the game, I guess when Blake came in, what all was going through your head and what all was happening during that period? I think there might have been some 20 seconds plus that ran off.
Yeah, I mean, it was fourth down, you know, and so we let the clock run down until there was only a couple seconds left, and we had a chance to score a touchdown, and then I think we also had another timeout just in case. You know, Blake was short of or not short, picked up the first down and didn't score. We can call a quick timeout and then regroup and get back on the sideline.
You got a lot of criticism after the Kansas State loss, but Josh Heupel got a lot of criticism too. Can you talk about, you know, what he's kind of meant to this offense, you know, and Coach Norvell too, just what they've been able to do to get this offense going at the level it is now?
Right. I mean, you know, everybody, you lose a game and then people think you can't coach, you can't throw, you can't block, you can't catch, you can't do all this stuff on offense, you know, and so we just went back to the drawing board and went back to work, and you know, all that stuff paid off for us. I don't know if we drastically changed anything. We might have tweaked some stuff here or there on what we were doing, but I think just the hard work and the determination that we put into this offense has really started to pay off for us.
Landry, it's 2 straight weeks you guys have converted in the last minute, fourth down. Win or convert, you win the game. Don't convert, you go home with a loss. Tell me about the pressure or the feeling on that play. It's fourth down and you got to convert. How it feels different from a second down play in the third quarter or a third down play in the second quarter.
I think really the only thing is just the pressure, and I think you feel how important this play is in determining the game, because it really is. You know, those couple plays. That fourth down to Kenny and then Blake's touchdown run determined the game for us, for sure, you know. So I think it's just the pressure mounting on how important those plays are in the results of the game.
What does that, how does that manifest in pressure? I mean, what does it feel like, and how do you divert it so that you can just function normally?
I don't know. It's hard to describe the feeling on it. I think there's excitement that goes into it. There is a lot of pressure. I think there's maybe some weight that goes in, just the heaviness of feeling that this is an important player, this is an important drive, you know. And so whenever you're successful at it, feels like everything's just kind of lifted off your shoulders, and I don't know, it's really fun.
Much of what you're doing right now comes from a little bit of maybe your redshirt freshman year, all those close games that didn't turn out in your favor, and other games along the way. How much do you learn from those failures and apply that now?
Learn a lot from them. You learn how to handle yourself in those type of situations. You know, you learn how to slow down. You learn how to just make it like it's any other drive and just make your reads and make all the right plays.
We asked you I think it was last week, about kind of the scrutiny of being the quarterback at Oklahoma. I couldn't help but notice on senior day when they announced your name, you by far got the loudest ovation out of everybody. How did that feel on the field, and what was that moment like for you?
It was great. You know, the fans here are great. Always, I really appreciate all that they do for us. The energy they bring to our field, and it just makes this place definitely have a bigger home field advantage. And on senior night, you know, I was just so appreciative of what they've done and how they supported me that day.
Kind of be singular focused, that didn't really want to think too much about being the last game at that moment? I noticed you were you didn't really show, well, not that you show a lot of emotion anytime, but I mean, it just seemed like, were you trying to kind of block all that out?
No, I was taking it in, you know, and it's just a little different before. It's harder to do before games. It's harder to appreciate those things. I think looking back on it now, I'm more appreciative now than I was before the game, just because you're about to go play a football game, you know, and so nerves are high and all those things before a football game. So it's harder to take in before a football game, but now as you look back, you're more appreciative of it.
And you guys celebrated, you know, with the fans. Most of the fans stayed. You guys took 2 laps around the field and things. Could you describe that and what the emotion, what you were looking at, what you were feeling during that 15 minutes you guys were still out there?
Yeah, yeah, I always relate it back to 2008 and the energy of the stadium and all that sort of stuff. And so that was one of the cooler moments that I've had here. I haven't had a home game where the fans have stayed and we celebrated with them and all that sort of stuff. So it was really cool. I'll definitely look back on that, and that'll be one of the things I always remember.
Landry, can you talk about beating a rival like Texas the way you beat them, or winning a last-second game overtime against an in-state rival from Homestead? Which is more satisfying?
Probably this one. For me, I think there's just more weight to this one than there was to the Texas one. Yeah, it was my last time to play Texas, but this was my last time to play Okie State, and it was my last home game, you know, and so the win the way we did, I think this game was more satisfying than the Texas game was.
Landry, can you talk about moving forward with TCU? All the talk right now is what's happened, but you have a game that is extremely big. Can you talk about the challenge of emotionally and physically preparing for this game?
Right. It's hard to come back and be focused and be all into a game whenever you have these emotional games, I know for sure, because it's draining and it's exhausting to play in those games, and it's hard to get back up for practice. It's hard to forget about that game and move on to the next opponent. So I think we're going to have to do a good job of yes, remembering this game, but moving on to the next opponent, which is TCU, and very capable team, very capable defense. Do a great job of playing together. They play extremely hard. It's going to be a big challenge for us, and for us to execute the way we want to on Saturday. It starts today in our preparation.
How much has the physical toll been these past 2 games, just being complete track meets?
It's been tough, you know. This last game we had 113 plays on offense, you know, and so that's a lot of plays for an offense to run, you know. And I know some of the big guys were tired after the game for sure, and so was I, you know. So yes, it is physically taxing, but that's one thing about college football. It's the next game. You have to get up and you have to prepare and you have to go.
In 2010, you were preparing this week to go play in a Big 12 championship against Nebraska. Last 2 years, you haven't had that championship game, but you've still been in it, you know, going into the final weekend. How does it change for players not having that game versus when you used to have it?
It's just a little different. I mean, that's why every game is so important now in the regular season. And once you get into conference, every game's important. And typically, to be the conference champion, you have to go, 8 or not lose a game in conference, you know. And so, yes, in an ideal world, we all want the championship game to have another redemption, being Big 12 championships, yes, but that's not the way it is, you know. And so we have to play what the hand that we've been dealt, and really just go after it and win this next game, and then see what happens in the end.
Are you a couple more guys?
How much better do you think this team is right now than that one that lost to Kansas State?
A lot better, for sure. I think our confidence is higher, just as an offense, realizing what we can do as an offensive team.
During your time here with your bowl scenarios right now, and how much would it mean to play a BCS bowl in your final game?
It'd be huge, you know, huge for us. But to get to that BCS bowl game, we have to win against TCU, and so that's what we're focusing on this week and for Saturday coming up.
Landry, I know you guys are trying to be focused on TCU, but do you feel like you've improved your draft stock pretty significantly with these last couple of games?
I hope so. You know, I hope I did. I hope they were watching, and you know, yeah. I mean, you think about it every once in a while, but for me, that's not the reason why I came back here this year. You know, I came back to be a senior, to go after that national championship, which now it's kind of out of our hands, but to really be on this team again, impact some guys, and you know, just be with my teammates.
During your time here, you guys have had issues playing on the road. Why do you think you guys are playing so well away from home this year?
I think we have a strong group of leaders on this team that when we go on the road, there's extra focus, and I think we just execute. We've just been executing better. That comes with practicing better and then taking what we practice into games.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.